For the first time, the leader of ProMedica sits down to talk about the future of one of the largest employers in the area. Hear what he had to say.
Some rain will work into the area overnight tonight. Could mix with a few wet snowflakes very early on our Thanksgiving. We'll highlight your full Thanksgiving Day forecast and a much cooler outlook into the weekend ahead. That's coming up.
Welcome into WTOL 11 News on Plus. I'm Kaylee Maritet. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday night or Thanksgiving Eve. Let's take a look at your top stories. Arturo Polizzi stepped into the role as the ProMedica CEO 2 years ago, and now WTOL 11 is the first Toledo TV station to sit down with the leader of one of Northwest Ohio's largest employers. Jeff Smith has more.
Welcome and thank you.
Arturo Polizzi stepped into what some might call the best, worst job in Northwest Ohio in 2022.
We were bleeding a lot of cash at that point, and we needed a plan to get out of it. So it was very stressful. It was stressful on the leadership team here. It was stressful on the clinicians who take care of people.
He said on the backside of the pandemic and the crush of inflation, the leadership at ProMedica knew drastic changes needed to be made. But consider this. Polizzi took over a company that had been riding high.
Kind of long story short, we're pleased to be here.
Randy Ostra's ProMedica beamed with pride for years with its new downtown headquarters. The naming rights on the refurbished Glass City Center, and being a driving force behind the Solheim Cup at Inverness. But in 2022, Polizzi says the writing was on the wall.
About it, and like I said, I was very transparent at the beginning. We were going to have to do some tough things, and we did. And I think if you're honest with people, they'll accept it. They may not like it, but they'll accept it.
Polizzi called it the worst of times. Financial restructuring was critical, scaling ProMedica down to become profitable after shedding major assets.
So we went from 2 years ago, $7 billion in revenue, really unprofitable, to $3 billion in revenue and profitable. So that was the plan, was to really scale down and become profitable.
Polizzi says the turnaround had to be measured, and the attention to those external things like politics, concerts, and sponsorships were no longer priorities. He says he had to get this house in order first.
We still have some debt we have to manage, and so from a community perspective, I'm still really focused on ProMedica. But I think that's really important. We employ 20,000 people. We're really a critical employer here for Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan.
And some of that debt was wrapped up in failed West Coast tech company Bitwise. WTOL 11 obtained documents showing ProMedica invested nearly $1 million into Bitwise and tens of millions in repurposing Toledo's historic Jefferson Center that Bitwise was supposed to occupy.
Is ProMedica free of that relationship?
We're free of the relationship with Bitwise, yes. They filed bankruptcy, and that process, I don't know where it is, but we're not part of it at this point. But we do.
Does ProMedica recoup any of the investment dollars that went into that organization?
No, we do not. No, we do not. We were a victim, just like all the other victims across the country, of Bitwise, which is maddening, to say the least.
But Polizzi says they're turning lemons into lemonade by remaining committed to the Jefferson Center, and they hope to announce new tenants in the near future. For now, healthcare is the sole focus, remaining competitive on nursing wages, and nurturing growth in service lines like surgery, oncology, and neurology. Maybe a way for this organization known for its green to stay in the green. And when asked with the holidays around the corner for what he's thankful, Polizzi didn't hesitate to praise his team.
We have incredible clinicians. I have really deep respect for our caregivers, our doctors, our advanced practice providers, our nurses, all the way down to the front lines to the people who clean the rooms. And the dedication you see, and they're working so hard, is just, it fills me with pride. So I am incredibly grateful for all of them.
Polizzi says as a tribute to that workforce, they recently handed out 20,000 turkeys. By the way, you can see the full 30-minute interview with Jeff Smith right here on WTOL 11+. A man accused of shooting and killing a man in West Toledo has been found incompetent to stand trial According to court records, Hassan Diop could later become competent to stand trial within 1 year after being provided with a course of treatment. He's accused of shooting and killing Brian McCoy near Ottawa Park in October. Police are trying to find out who damaged several vehicles and stole Toledo fire uniforms. Police officials say it happened at the fire station on South Avenue either Monday night or early Tuesday morning. At least 5 personnel vehicles and 1 city vehicle were damaged. According to a state organization, the crooks got away with firefighters' uniforms that same night. If you have any information about who could be responsible, contact the number on your screen. In Seneca County, groups are partnering to tackle and help address homelessness needs. According to Data USA, in 2023, more than 9% of Seneca County, they were living with severe housing problems. Dominique O'Neill has more.
Sisters of St. Francis has been serving the Tiffin community for 155 years. Now they're teaming up with New Housing Ohio to further their mission of providing a helping hand to those who need it the most.
We're very pleased that we can continue this mission with New Housing Ohio and expand it.
New Housing Ohio is a nonprofit developer and provider of specialized housing solutions focused on supporting individuals who are recovering from addiction or experiencing homelessness. Aaron Muntz is the president and CEO of the Tiffin Seneca Economic Partnership.
To me, this literally is a wraparound home run for the community, because it's going to help us with homelessness, it's going to help us with affordable housing for families, and it is going to help us with our workforce issues locally.
The Spirituality Center in St. Francis community is being used as the first step in this venture, providing a place for the homelessness. The funding will include grants, federal programs, and national foundations.
We're going to take one step at a time and see how we can develop this together.
This is just the beginning.
When you talk about a trifecta and a project that just has the ability to impact the community for generations, this is it. So I'm thrilled.
The project is set to start in July of 2025 and continue through the next 7 to 10 years. Toledo City Council members are taking a look at the city's food system. The city is already hiring a food policy manager come January to analyze Toledo's food resources. But council members are requesting a study to analyze the negative impacts of food deserts. Also, how to incentivize businesses to provide healthy food options in areas that are lacking it. City Council member Brittany Jones says one reason there was a push for this was the closing of Rite Aids.
How to protect those stores, or at least those buildings, from possible incoming small box stores that have also been posed as a potential threat to just the community health. But then what can the community do with that space, and how can they control their space when it comes to food?
Jones says she would want to see a community grocery store go into one of the old Rite Aid buildings. This measure is on the agenda for next week's City Council meeting. Well, thinking about getting some ink this holiday season, a Sylvania tattoo shop is having a fundraiser to help raise money for a food pantry that was recently taken advantage of. You may remember in September, someone took hundreds of dollars worth of food and toiletries from the Paws and People pantry. Then last month, a group of kids vandalized it. Now, the Toledo shop in Sylvania wants to help them by having a $50 flash tattoo sale. 50% of all proceeds will go directly to the food pantry.
Years ago, we moved back from Tennessee and we were briefly homeless. So after we got a new place to live, there was a woman in our life who brought us a box of food every week from a local pantry, and it really helped our family get back on our feet.
Those with the tattoo shop say you can't choose the design, but the shop has some online designs that you can pick out. You can find more information on our website. Governor Mike DeWine signed a bill banning transgender students from using school bathrooms and locker rooms that don't match up with their sex at birth. This does not prevent a school from having a single occupancy facility. It doesn't apply to someone helping a person with a disability or a child younger than 10 years old. The law takes effect in 90 days. Civil rights groups are expected to file lawsuits against it. Airlines are expecting a busy travel day before the holiday today, but the mass majority of travelers are driving to their destinations. At the airports, TSA officials expect to screen 9 million flyers today, and the FAA is opening additional express lanes in the skies, usually reserved for the military, to help keep pace with the surge in holiday flights. AAA expects nearly 72 million people will drive this year. The Martin Luther King Kitchen for the Poor is continuing a holiday tradition. Workers there put together a special Thanksgiving feast this afternoon. Those who stopped by received a Thanksgiving meal to go in addition to another bag of food to take home.
Well, it's very important. You know, we're in the neighborhood areas depressed. A lot of people need help, so that's where we fit in. They seem to be appreciative of our efforts. You know, it's a good thing.
The MLK Kitchen for the Poor has been around for 55 years. They operate solely on donations. We've compiled a list of free Thanksgiving meals being given out in the area. All you have to do is text the word meal to 419-248-1100 and we'll send you the list directly. And if you are in an organization that's giving out free meals, you still have time to text your information to that number so we can add it to the list. Chris?
Do have a little wet weather that's going to work into the area as we go through the rest of the evening and overnight. For the most part, right around the upper 30s to low 40s as we go through midnight, which would mean all this in the form of a liquid. After midnight, there's a chance we get a few wet snowflakes that will mix in. What's falling right now across northern Ohio, generally not reaching the ground. Some steadier showers into central Ohio and west central Ohio will lift to the north, giving us a chance of some evening rain showers. I know it's a busy evening of travel, so if you're still expecting to be traveling tonight or have loved ones that are coming in town, we're well above freezing. So liquid precipitation the next several hours, lower 40s. That rain picks up, could cool the air back into the 30s. And by the time we reach daybreak on Thanksgiving morning, we're back toward dry conditions. That system out of here. Some peaks of sun develop mid to late morning through about lunchtime, low 40s for highs into the afternoon, and it will be a fairly pleasant Thanksgiving holiday. Now that chance of that brief rain snow mix is going to come into the area. That's going to be after midnight, and again, not anything that's going to be sticking. We're going to be above freezing, so any snowflakes that fall likely going to be melting away almost immediately on contact. We're going to wake up Thursday morning, Thanksgiving morning. Here's the clock set to 8 a.m. Rain and snow showers are off to the east, so generally it's largely going to be a dry day, but heads up to this. We're going to start to feel cooler air push in late on your Thanksgiving. We're still dry through 5 p.m. No issues with travel, but colder air rushing in. And here it comes. It's going to kick up the lake effect snow machine. And what does that mean for us? Look at these streamers of lake effect snow coming off of Lake Michigan. May impact southeast Michigan, extreme western Ohio, with some snow showers Thursday night into Friday morning. Heavier lake effect snows downwind of Lake Erie. And as we go through Friday, there's some occasional passing snow showers that may bring some minor accumulations across southern Michigan, perhaps over an inch of snow. Rest of northwest Ohio, it is going to be little, if any, accumulation. We want to get you set for Thanksgiving Day. If you're thinking of joining us for Dave's Turkey Chase 5K, also got a kids' 1 mile fun run or a 1 mile walk option kicking off 9 a.m. right outside our WTOL 11 studio. 35 degrees, mostly cloudy skies, dry conditions. So lace up the sneakers and bring the whole family down. And we'd love to see you for Dave's Turkey Chase. If you're thinking just turkey into the afternoon, I get where you're coming from. 42 degrees for Thanksgiving, mostly cloudy skies. Going to be a mainly dry day. And be prepared for this. Heads up toward much colder air. And I showed you those lake effect snow showers rushing into the area. It's because of this frigid cold weather that's going to plunge into the area into the weekend. That's going to also include and impact the big game down there in Columbus. If you're thinking Buckeyes or Wolverines, mid to upper 20s toward kickoff time, and wind chills, they will be in the teens. Bundle up. It is going to be a cold day down at the shoe, and really a sign of a pattern change toward much colder weather this weekend and through next week. Our weekend forecast, it is going to be quite cold, right at 30 degrees on Saturday. Not even going to make it above freezing. 31 Sunday,